Welcome to the Bold North Breakdown here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Glen Ritter, here to talk about some Minnesota sports. I know Women's History Month was in March, but we're just into April. But I'm going to have a lot of ladies to talk about tonight. I'm going to talk about the Gopher women's basketball team. Did something really nice a night or two ago, winning the WBIT tournament. That's the thing here in Minnesota is we seem to always our men's teams can't really pull anything off when it comes to winning big championships. Haven't won a World Series since '91, and Vikings have never won a World Championship. Same thing with the Timberwolves. The Wild have not either. Had some success, but Minnesota Lynx, they won 4 championships with Maya Moore, Simone Augustus, Lindsay Whalen, Rebecca Brunson, all those Hall of Famers, but just haven't been able to get anything through to the rest of our sports. But man, these Lady Gophers really did a great job winning that the WBIT tournament. Now, granted, it wasn't the national championship. They're not to that point yet, but they've got some really good players there. I'm going to talk about them for the future for the program as well. And then I'm going to talk some women's volleyball. I know it's spring. They don't really start playing until the fall, but they did have a spring scrimmage against Northern Iowa, and actually they had a few Iowa teams that all came in last weekend. So they did have a scrimmage that was close to the public when they played the Iowa Hawkeyes, and then they also played against Iowa State. And but the one that they did open up to the public was when they took on Northern Iowa. So it was great to it was free to get in, first come first serve. Was able to watch Iowa State played Iowa in a match at 2:00. So my wife and I went to that. Got some good seats right in the middle of the court. Perfect viewing, so we could see everything. Got a chance to really see the players. Then, let's see, Iowa State and Iowa played at 2, and then the Gophers played at 4 that afternoon on Saturday, and it was a lot of fun. Got a chance to see the returning players, and we'll talk about them, and then some of the young freshmen that they've added to the team too, and that's always been kind of a big program here in the Big Ten. We're going to talk some about the Wolves and Wild. They're getting that playoff push, getting ready for the end of the season and the playoffs to start here soon. So, really looking forward to seeing how all of that goes. But so that's kind of the agenda for the show today, and. But before we get into that, I'm just gonna give our sponsors a little bit of time here to show you guys what's going on.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out, the sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back to the Bold North Breakdown here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Check out all of our sponsors, right? They do so much to help support the station, just keeping everybody, all the shows up and running. So Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Again, I can't speak highly. I cannot say enough to really reiterate and explain how much I enjoy that stuff. It is a great snack. It's pure brisket meat. It tastes fantastic. I like I mentioned every show, I always have to have some in my desk drawer at work and some here at home. So when I need a little late night snack, I can reach for something that's not real sugary or anything like that. Just great tasting beef jerky. Vital Apparel, again, another great company that we work with. Take advantage of those discounts. Use the code IESR and get 15% off of your order. Great apparel. And some of those proceeds then go to help with mental health. So again, another great company and great source to work with. Seal the Deal wax seals. Again, a great thing to, if you've got some invitations or thank you letters or things like that you need to create and send out in mass, that you want to just take it up a notch. Check out Cecilia B's wax seals. They're a great source and just a great touch to when you've got some of those kinds of things. And then obviously, IE Sports Radio. Definitely follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Spreaker, Spotify. You can find our podcasts everywhere. We've got over 30 shows from all across the country. Definitely check those out. Be a subscriber. Go to the YouTube page, IESR, and start following pages. We've got all kinds of people from across the country that are doing this every single week. And then we do also have our newest sponsor, Raw Nutrition Supplements. Go to getrawnutrition.com, use the promo code IESR, and get 10% off of your order. So again, this is another one that I do get that Raw Nutrition grass-based wheat whey for protein shakes in the morning. It's a great way to start off your day. If you're going to go work out or anything like that, again, just great. Yes. So let's see here. And then again, if you want to follow me on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, I can be found at boldnorth_IESR, or my personal account is Gritter13 on X. So be sure to follow us. Follow me on both of those places. Got comments coming in. So Brian, host of the Beantown Sports Show in Boston. Sorry, Brian. I can never seem to get your the name of your show right. And you're watching every week, so I really appreciate it. It's great to have you on. Looking forward to checking out your show the next time it's on. Okay, there we go. Sports Pound. There we go. All right. Thanks, Brian. I'm got my little cheat sheet here. I just need to adjust the font because some of the colors blend in together, and I'm colorblind, and it is really challenging to read some of these. So I apologize for that. But again, Brian, thanks for tuning in. Looking forward to going through a lot today. I got my Gophers football jersey on. I wanted to just represent those colors. Got some Gopher stuff in the back. Just because, again, the ladies this past week have been awesome. For those of you that didn't watch the game on ESPN last night, the ladies were just fantastic, beating Belmont 75-63. They are the WBIT champs. Again, not really a title that the men's teams have ever been able to do. Actually, I think they did win the NIT one year, but then I think that was with Clem Haskins, and I think the next year they went to the Final Four, which they didn't go to the Final Four because of the academic scandal that they had. But just it was just great to see them all celebrating as a team. And the really cool thing about it is the top four scorers from last night's game are all coming back. They were led in scoring by a true freshman, Tori McKinney, 6'1" guard from Minnetonka, so suburb right here in the Twin Cities area. True freshman, 26 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals. Just a great. She had a great game, and I think she had 19 in the first half. I mean, she was just shooting the lights out. I think she was like 10 of 14 from the field for the game. 4 of 7 from 3, I believe. She just, there wasn't anything. The stage wasn't too big for her or anything. She really handled herself like a veteran player. Then the next leading scorer was Mallory Heyer, 18 points, 16 rebounds. She's a 6'1" forward, junior. She's going to be returning next year as well. She's from Chaska, so fairly close to Minnetonka, but a little bit farther out of the Twin Cities area. But yeah, so, and then there was a Maya Battle, 5'11" guard went to Hopkins. Really close. Actually, Hopkins and Minnetonka are kind of are big rivals. So, and actually, funny story, the Hopkins High School has a Minnetonka address. I used to work in that school district, so that kind of tells you how close those schools are to each other. So anyway, but she's going to be back. She's a 5'11" junior. Had 17 points, 7 rebounds, 5 of 6. She did have 6 turnovers, but I think some of that comes from just the defense that Belmont was playing, and sometimes there's passes that just go wayward and get called for traveling, those kinds of things. So, but otherwise, they really had a great great night. The other person coming back, who was the number 4 scorer last night, was Grace Grahalski. Not spelled that way, but that's how you pronounce it. She's a 5'10" junior. Guard from Wisconsin, and she was one of the leading scorers in the tournament coming up to that point. So, but last night she only had 6 points, but 8 assists. So she was definitely her shots weren't falling, so she was dishing the rock to her teammates, and they were putting the ball in the basket. So they played really well as a team. I think the only player that they're going to be losing from their starting rotation is going to be Sophie Hart. She's a 6'5" senior. I think she had played at NC State for a couple of years, but she's from Farmington. A couple of years ago, she transferred back to Minnesota. So they're going to miss her size, in the middle. I think, especially in the Big Ten, you're going to need to have somebody that's 6'3" or taller. And they do have a younger player that is 6'3". I think she's a sophomore, I believe. That I'm hoping, she didn't really get a whole lot of playing time this season, but we'll see how well she does. But as you can see in my little scroll across the bottom, one huge player that they're going to be getting back next year is Mara Braun. Mara Braun only played in 5 games this year. She got hurt in the 5th game of the season. She is a 6-foot guard. She's a junior. She played in Wayzata. So Wayzata, Minnetonka, Hopkins, all 3 of those schools, same conference. They don't necessarily like each other, but she was a 4-star recruit. She averaged about 16.5 points per game so far in her college career. She was a 4-star recruit. She was the number 28 player overall in her graduating class. So it's going to be good to see her back. Hopefully she's back and healthy. But anyway, yeah. So the future's looking bright there. Yeah, and looking to see. I know that they've got some more freshmen signed for next year, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how they're going to do this next season. I was kind of surprised. I mean, I know that they were on the bubble for making the NCAA tournament, but I'd love to see them be able to get back and make some noise in the big dance next year for the ladies. So great season, ladies. It was awesome to watch. It was nice to have a team to cheer for because my Twins have not been so great, but I'm not going to touch on them too much tonight, but just wanted to chat a little bit about that. But the one that I really wanted to talk about, and I'm hoping Taryn's watching, but I haven't seen him comment yet, so maybe he's not. But I did get a chance to watch the Gophers volleyball team. This is the one sport that I love to go watch. And if you live in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, I strongly encourage you to get out to a Gopher volleyball game once or twice this year. My wife and I, we always like to get you can get a 5-ticket pack. So you can pick the 5 games that you want to go to, pick out the seats you'd be sitting in, and the tickets are much cheaper that way. And there's less. I don't think they even have any additional charges, so service fees or anything like that. So you can get I think we got tickets to 5 games. We didn't do it last year. I think we got tickets to maybe 2 games last year, but the year before we got the 5-ticket package. And for the 2 of us, it was under $200 for 5 games. So it's a great place to watch volleyball. It's so much fun. The team is playing in the Big Ten against all of the Big Ten teams that are in there, the Wisconsins, the Nebraskas, and now with USC and UCLA and Washington and Oregon all playing in that in the Big Ten. And it doesn't even, and then you got Penn State. Oh my gosh, how can I forget Penn State? They have one of the most historic programs in the whole country. Although now that Russ Rose is retired, they've been a little bit. They've taken a little bit of a step back, but so have the Gophers since Hugh McCutcheon retired a couple of years ago. But really looking forward to seeing how well they play this upcoming season. Just looking at some of the projected starters, what I'm seeing, Stella Swenson is going to be the starting setter. They do also have a junior transfer in. Her name's Georgia Lee. But during the scrimmage, they played 4 sets. They went 3-1 against Northern Iowa. And the one set that they lost was the 3rd set. And in that set, they tried out running a 6-2. So having 2 setters that would rotate in. So the setter would always be in the back row. So they'd always have 3 hitters up front. Didn't really work out too well. I think it's hard to get into a rhythm if you have a different setter. So I think they're going to go back to the 5-1. The sets where they did run a 5-1 were the 1st, 2nd, and 4th sets, and those sets they won. But Stella Swenson, she's a redshirt sophomore. Her older sister is Samantha Seliger Swenson, who also was the starting setter for the Gophers a number of years ago, and she was a 4-year All Big Ten, either 1st or 2nd team setter. And it's just a great setter. So she was a freshman last year, didn't play, so now she's a redshirt freshman, and is going to do a great job. She was setting everybody really, really well, including the middles, which is always a huge thing for setters, right? If the setter can get a good pass where they can feed those middles, it's going to open up things for the outside hitters when they get the ball set to them. So on the outside, the two main players are going to be Julia Hansen and McKenna Wooker. So McKenna Wooker didn't play in that scrimmage against Northern Iowa on Saturday. I don't know if she was battling an injury or anything, but she was just in street clothes. We did start out with Julia Hansen and Alex Acevedo. Alex Acevedo is a redshirt sophomore. I think she redshirted with Oregon first. She was on the team last year and played fairly solid. One issue that I noticed last year watching their games, and the other thing that's great about the Gophers volleyball team is they're on the Big Ten Network a lot in the fall up until get too much into the football season. Once some of the get farther into the football season, then they're not on quite as much because then football's on various nights and things like that. But watching them on the Big Ten Network is a lot of fun. Anyway, so one thing I noticed last year with Alex Acevedo is that she did have a little bit of trouble with serve receive. And then when the first match started, she did shank one of the balls that was served to her, which was a little it was a little concerning when I first saw it, because I was like, oh gosh, not this again, right? Because when the Gophers were playing well last year, they were passing the ball well. That's the key to volleyball. If you don't pass the ball well to the setter, it's hard for the setter to then set up their hitters. So having good passes is key. So, but that was the only glitch that I saw from Alex. After that, the passes were great. Yeah. So, I think Julie Hansen, she didn't get a lot of playing time up until last year. She's a junior, I believe. She might be a senior actually this year. But her first 2 years, really, she didn't get a lot of playing time, which was disappointing just because I always thought that she seemed to have a great amount of ability. She can hit the ball really well. She can pass. She doesn't get rattled. That was the one thing I noticed about her. McKenna Wooker, super highly rated outside hitter and player coming out of high school, but she does have a tendency of getting into her head. So in the Big Ten, there's a lot of large middle blockers that can shut down outside hitters. And if she gets blocked or hits a ball out of bounds, a lot of times she overcorrects and takes too much off of her next swing. Julie Hansen, she doesn't do that. She just she goes up firing, and in or out, she's just crushing the ball. She's not afraid of getting blocked. So I'm a huge fan of Julie Hansen. I'm a huge fan of McKenna Wooker too. Don't get me wrong, because when she gets on a roll, she can get on a roll. Okay, so really looking forward to seeing how they all play together this season. On the opposite, right? So for those of you that don't really follow volleyball all that much, the setter always kind of tries to position themselves in the front right. So even if they're in the back row, they kind of go to that front right spot to be able to set. The outside hitter is usually on the left side, got a middle blocker in the middle, and then the opposite is on the right side. So if the setter's in the back row, the opposite would always go to the front right side as you're facing the net. Anyway, so the opposite there is going to be Lauren Crowell, 6'4". I believe she's a redshirt senior from Egan. Her older brother or her brother plays basketball at Wisconsin. So if you Badger fans follow Wisconsin basketball, you'll recognize that last name as Crowell. Then the other person I've got on that screen there is Carly Gilk. Carly is a freshman. The thing about both these ladies is they're left-handed. So as somebody that plays volleyball, I've played with, I had a good friend that I played volleyball with that was left-handed, and it is crazy how people can't seem to figure out where the ball is going to go when a left-hander is hitting. So tendency, most times lefties will play the opposite position. It's a little bit easier for them to go cross court and go down the line. And it really messes with the blocker. So anyway, both of those ladies played really well. Again, Lauren Crowell is somebody that I've liked watching over the last couple of years. But again, didn't really get a whole lot of playing time recently. And then Carly Gilk is a freshman from Champlin. So again, a very highly rated recruit. And then the other people we got to talk about as far as the projected starters are going to be the libero defensive specialists. Okay, so I'm going to try to pronounce Z's name correctly. I had to actually listen to the Gophers on her page on the Minnesota Gophers site to try and be able to pronounce her name. So everybody just calls her Z, but she's from Turkey. Short little, like 5'6", super energetic. It's Zeynep Plebek. I'm going to stop there because I am not 100% sure I said it right, but I'm pretty darn close. So I'm going to stick with it. Anyway, she plays the libero. And the one thing that was interesting during that scrimmage was that Z and Kate Thibault would switch, would flip-flop between being libero and the defensive specialist. So the defensive specialist, what that person does is there's certain players that they'll only have play in the front row. So for example, let's see, I think Lauren Crowell, when she would get to the back row, when she would rotate around, she would come out of the game and then Kate Thibault would step in the back row for her, all the way around along the back line. When she goes to the front row, then she subs back out, and Lauren Crowell comes into the front row. So that's kind of how the defensive specialist works. So those two would take turns. So during the second set, it was Z that was playing the defense specialist, and then Kate Thibault was the little barrel. Kate Thibault is about like 5'4". So both of them, tiny players, but their job is to just cover a lot of ground, dig up any ball that they can, and they did a great job during that scrimmage. So really looking forward to seeing how well they can do. The one thing I do worry about is just kind of the depth behind some of these regulars. If anybody gets hurt, I know McKenna Wooker, like I said, she was in street clothes. That means Alex Acevedo is going to step up and play more. They do have a sophomore outside hitter, Sydney Schnickels. I think she's like a 6'3" outside hitter, very highly rated recruit a couple of years ago. That I think would do very well. Oh, one of the other did I skip on middle blockers? So I did totally skip the middle blockers. I got to talk about those ladies, and I apologize. I don't even have a ticker for them. I missed entering that. So they've got 3 middle blockers that are all really, really good. So they have Calissa Minity. She was on the team last year. She's a 6'1" middle blocker. You think, okay, 6'1", that's not super tall when you think that there's ladies like Carter Booth, who's like 6'7", playing for Wisconsin and things like that. But she has a great vertical. And she gets a lot of blocks, and she did last year. Then there's a grad transfer, Lourdes Meyer. She transferred in from, I can't remember where she transferred in from, but she's a grad student. So this will be her only season playing for the Gophers. But the one that I think is going to get more playing time than anybody else is going to be Jordan Taylor. She's a 6'5" freshman, and she played every bit of 6'5" during that scrimmage. So I think as a team, the Gophers had, I want to say, 16 blocks to, I think Northern Iowa had 2 over the whole course of those 4 sets. So anyway, definitely looking forward to seeing all these ladies play. So we're going to come back. We're going to talk some Timberwolves next. And so just listen tight. Thanks for tuning in. You're listening to the Bold North Breakdown here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
The roar of the crowd, the drama and pageantry, the adrenaline rush and decadence of the world of professional wrestling. Join yours truly, the SoCal Saint, for the best pro wrestling podcast going today, the IE Wrestling Show, exclusively on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Join us every Wednesday from 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Once again, every Wednesday, the IE Wrestling Show. It's just too woo!
Hello everyone, my name is Daryl Kinsey Jr. and I'm welcoming you to take another lap with the fastest show on IE Sports Radio. Yes, this is the Extra Mile with me and my co-hosts Christopher Lehman and Michael Ward. We talk everything racing from NASCAR to IndyCar to Formula One to limited hydroplanes, endurance racing, the NHRA, and more. So come join us for an hour of great racing talk and a lot of fun as well on the Extra Mile, Thursdays at 8 p.m. only on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back to the Bold North Breakdown here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Make sure you check out those shows, the IE Wrestling Show with the SoCal Saint and Extra Mile with Daryl, Chris, and Michael. Yeah, welcome back. We're gonna talk some. Wolves. All right, let's get to it. So Timberwolves went 3-0 this week. Huge week, right? Now it's time for that playoff push. So they had it was a kind of a crazy week, right? For those of you who were watching, that might have seen that the Suns that they beat the Suns on Friday night last week. Let's see, the final was 124-109. It was nice that they swept the Suns, which is kind of cool. Last year during the playoffs they swept them 3-0, and then this season they won all four of their matchups against the Suns. So I know the Wolves have been kind of a Jekyll and Hyde. There you go, easy for me to say. So they've been a Jekyll and Hyde team, playing really well against teams and poorly against some of the bad, not so good teams, I guess. So it was good to see them start out with that huge win over the Suns. Then on Sunday they go to take on Detroit, and that was a bit ugly. They were down 39-29 playing at home, and things have been getting a little chippy between the Pistons and the Wolves. Naz Reid goes driving down the lane for a layup, gets fouled, and starts barking back and forth with can't remember the Pistons guy's name. If anybody in the chat remembers it, you can throw that in there and help me out there a bit. But anyway, started John back and forth. Dante DiVincenzo steps in to try and separate him from Naz. And then all hell broke loose. Everybody's pushing and shoving. They're in the crowd, just going crazy. And it must have sparked the Wolves because, there were 5 players that got ejected, and then 2 coaches got ejected from that. So that was just crazy, right? I'm sure everybody's seen it. It's kind of hard for you to have it's hard for you to follow sports and not have seen the fight that took place between the Pistons and the Wolves. Just a shoving match, not really a fight. I mean, I think a fight, I think of like hockey fights, but as a pushing match. So you have 5 players to get ejected, including Isaiah Stewart for the Pistons, who actually ended up getting a 2-game suspension because he has a tendency of getting into a little bit of trouble. So I'm not sure if Christian's here from the Gritsville podcast. I think actually he's going to be on a little bit later on tonight. So I'll have to jump in and listen to his show. But it was just kind of a crazy night. So all the players that were involved got suspended for at least 1 game, which meant that on Tuesday night, when the Wolves were facing Denver, they were without Naz Reid and Dante DiVincenzo. And but in all, be upfront, Denver was also without Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. So each team was without a couple of their key players. And for those of you that did not watch it, hopefully you recorded it. It was on TNT. Boy, that game was a battle. Wow. It's double overtime. It started at 9:00 my time, so I did not finish watching it that night. I went to bed after the third quarter. Wolves were up by 6 at that point. I think it was like 84-78. I woke up in the morning, saw that the final was 140-139, double overtime. And I'm like, oh, wow, what did I miss? And boy, was it a lot. Let's see. Jokic had a 61-point triple-double. 61 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. The guy is just a beast. It's so amazing. just watching him play, going back and seeing some of the passes he makes, the shots he makes. He was getting pretty much every single Wolves player into foul trouble. Rudy Gobert fouled out at the end of regulation. Julius Randle had 5. I think Jaden McDaniels had 5 fouls up until the very end, right? They were all getting into foul trouble because without Naz Reid and Rudy Gobert being, having fouled out, there really wasn't anybody to guard Jokic. He's just too good. And on top of that, he didn't sit at all after the first half. He played the entire third quarter, entire fourth quarter, and both overtime periods. Did not sit for 1 minute. I think he finished with like 53 minutes, and then he didn't play last night. So obviously, sounds like he was a little worn out. But man, was that a great game to watch? Just seeing everybody bounce back and forth. The crazy thing was, and for those of you, I'm sure that were watching or saw it, Russell Westbrook steals the ball from Anthony Edwards, has a wide open layup, or he has a layup attempt. In overtime with the Nuggets up by 1, he misses the layup. Nickeil Alexander Walker gets the rebound, dribbles up, passes it over to passes it, and then sprints over to the right side, right corner behind the 3-point line. Ball gets to Anthony Edwards. He drives, dishes out to Nickeil Alexander Walker. He shoots a 3 or attempts a 3, misses it, but gets fouled by Russell Westbrook in the process. 3 free throws. Nickeil Alexander Walker calmly steps up, nails the first 2, and then misses the third. And this was all as time expired. So I think the fans in the arena were thinking, okay, the game's over, right? He missed the shot. They were making so much noise. They didn't hear the whistle. You could kind of hear it on the broadcast. And even the announcers didn't necessarily know that a foul had been called because they couldn't hear it either. So then all of a sudden they're like, wait, what's going on there? Oh, did they call a foul? What are they checking on the replay for? They go to replay, determine that the foul occurred before the clock hit 0. So they put 1/10 of a second back on the clock when he shot those free throws. So he hits the first one, hits the second one, intentionally misses the third, so it bounces off as soon as it's touched. Game over. The Wolves pulled out a 140-139 victory there. So I listening to the broadcast, there was somebody sitting fairly close to the announcers that was just said, the fix is in. The fix is in. He kept saying it because he was not too happy with that call. So, and I'm sure there were some other fans and coaches and players for the Nuggets that weren't too happy, but the Wolves pulled out a victory, which amazingly enough, again, they last season in the playoffs, the Wolves and Nuggets went to 7 games. The Wolves ended up pulling out the victory in the playoffs and then to advance to take on the Mavericks. But this season, the Wolves are 4-0 against the Nuggets during the regular season. They've won all 4 matchups this year. So, not sure exactly what to think about that, because as they're getting into the playoff push, they have 6 games remaining, right? So let's see. So tonight they're playing the Nets, which is the first time that they played them. They're playing in Brooklyn. Then Saturday they're going to be playing the 76ers again in Philadelphia. Tuesday, they're taking on the Milwaukee Bucks. Thursday, they're taking on the Memphis Grizzlies, who are in a free fall. Although the crazy thing right now is that the Wolves are technically in 6th place. They're half game behind the Warriors. So all the Warriors have 44 wins. The Wolves have 44. Grizzlies and Clippers all have 44 wins. The Grizzlies, Wolves, and Clippers all have the exact same record. They're 44-32. But because of tiebreakers, the Wolves are technically in 6th with I think the Clippers are in 7th and the Grizzlies are actually in 8th. And they are just Grizzlies are in a free fall since they fired their head coach last week. I don't think they've won a game since then. But the Wolves do take them on, which they're a scary team. Ja Morant, you just never know what's going to end up happening there. So a little scared about that one. So they're going to be on the road for those 4 games. Then they'll come back home, 2 more at home. Take on they'll take on the Nets again, and then finish up the season against Utah. So of those games, they should be favored in just about every single one of them. Grizzlies, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see how they're playing by that point. Maybe they'll have won a game or 2 since then, but who knows? But they could conceivably win all 6. And then get to 50 wins, be 50-32, which would probably put them in the 5th spot. Which then it could be a question about who would they face, because right now the Lakers and Nuggets have the same or tied for the same record. So depending on how they finish out, one is going to be in 3rd place, one could be in 4th place. Although the Lakers are just phenomenal right now, so they could move up another spot too. Who knows how that's all gonna play out? But it's going to be interesting to see. So it could be that the main thing for us Wolves fans is we just don't want to be in the play-in game. Because if you're at 6th, at least you get some time off while those playing games take place. 7 versus 8, and then 9 versus 10, and then the winner of 9-10 takes on the loser of the 7-8. We don't want to have to deal with that play those extra games. If you can get locked into one of those top 6 spots, then that's what you're shooting for. So anyway, so that's kind of the rundown of the Wolves. I'm hoping that they really take this next week seriously, next week and a half. Because they're going to be finishing on Sunday the 13th of April. And at that point, the season, I think that, and actually I think the Warriors play the Clippers that day too. So that's really going to take some things as far as the seeding goes. So thankfully the other 3 teams that the Wolves are tied with, they're not facing anymore the rest of the season. They've got Eastern Conference teams, and then Grizzlies the Grizzlies are in there. Grizzlies are one of those 4 teams, all kind of tied in there with the same record. So that's going to be interesting. So we'll see how that goes. So lots of fun. Anyway, all right. That's kind of it for the Wolves talk. We're going to take a quick break, come right back. And you're listening to the Bold North Breakdown here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey, sports fans. Are you in the market for Florida sports or just keeping up with the latest in the Panhandle? Palm Tree Sports is a dedicated audio hub to all things sports in the Sunshine State. We cover current events, big news, heavily favored opinions all across the NFL, NBA, MLB, and so much more. So come check us out every Saturday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For a down south education on Florida sports and athletics, it's hosted by yours truly, Corey Pujols, and is powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Sports fans, do you like teams that are tough, cities that are tougher, and fan bases that are passionate about their teams? How about teams that are historic and stadiums that are iconic? Then you belong in Chicago, and you need to check out Chi-Town Weekly. Join me, Adam Kernan, every week as we keep up with all things Chicago sports. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox. We'll cover them all, plus more. The Windy City is always buzzing, and we'll keep you up on all the big games and major stories. So tune in to Chi-Town Weekly every week right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back to the Bold North Breakdown here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Make sure you check out those shows, the Palm Tree Sports Show with Corey Pujols and the Chi-Town Weekly with Adam Karnick. Those are a couple of great shows. Anything that you need to want to know about Chicago sports or Florida sports, check them out. I know Adam also is part of the Neutral Zone show talking hockey. There's so many great shows out there. Check out our like I said, check out our webpage and make sure you try to check out some of those other shows, right? There's so much great content out there on the IE Sports Radio Network that you should definitely check those out. One thing, and before I get into the Minnesota Wild, I forgot to mention about the Minnesota Timberwolves, because they get me so excited at this time of the year because they're really playing well. But the other big thing that came out this week is Glenn Taylor officially announced that he was not going to be appealing the arbitrator's decision to award that the contract that was negotiated between Glenn Taylor, Mark Lowry, and Alex Rodriguez was a binding agreement, that they met all of the stipulations in the agreement. And so he's not going to be trying to appeal that arbitrator's decision that came out a month or two ago, which means they're going to be able to go forward, go into the NBA Board of Governors for approval, and then finish the finish the sale of the Timberwolves. So very excited about that. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about Minnesota Wild. Oh, they're getting towards the end of the season, and they are just limping along. 4 games this week right now, so their record is 41, 28, and 7. So they've got 89 points. They're tied with the St. Louis Blues for that first wild card spot. They're both teams are at 89 points, same number of games, so that neither has a game in hand or anything like that. But they're both 7 points behind Colorado for that to move into the third spot in the Central, which they've only got 6 games left. I don't see any way that they're going to be able to pass the Avalanche. So this week, let's see, last Thursday night after my show, they went the Wild got a 4-2 win over Washington, which was great. Then Saturday played the Devils at home, lost 5-2, didn't get any points there in the standings. Monday played the Devils again, this time in New Jersey, lost 3-2 in the shootout. So because they made it to overtime, they got another point in the standings. And then Wednesday night, they played the Rangers. So last night, 5-4 overtime loss. Again, picked up another point. So they got 4 points out of a possible 8 over the course of this past week. Not great, but could be a heck of a lot worse, especially with St. Louis being on a 10-game winning streak. That's that's gonna be hard to keep them at bay the way that the Wild are banged up right now. But again, Blues on a 10-game winning streak in hockey, how is that possible? That almost never ever happens. So let's see here. Brian chimed in again. Is like, at least we're not like the Bruins. We actually have a playoff spot. Yeah, sorry, bud. The Bruins. Just a couple of years ago, they had just the best regular season ever and lost in the first round of the playoffs. And so I feel for you, man. I've never had that happen in my time as a Minnesota Wild fan. They've never gotten to that point. They've always been good, but never great and never horrible. So they're always picking, in that mid range, or they're trying to get some. They're never picking high enough to get a Connor McDavid, Connor Bedard type of player. But they've gotten some good guys, right? They've found some players. The only challenge right now is, when are these guys going to be back healthy, right? So Kirill Kaprizov has missed just months of the season. Just had surgery during the trip to New York. He met with his doctor. He got cleared to get back on the ice. They've been doing some skating. I think he's been cleared to get for some contact drills. So let's see. The upcoming schedule, they're playing tomorrow. They're playing in New York. So I don't think he's not gonna be back playing just yet. I think they want to make sure that he's safe, based on what the doctors had to say to them. But in the NHL, they keep all of that super hush hush. So we're not really sure what's going to be happening there. But if I was to guess, I would say he's going to come back during one of the home games. So it could be on Sunday versus the Stars, or Wednesday against the Sharks. I guess for me, I'd probably lean towards coming back against the Sharks. So these next two games, they'd have to try and scrape out a point or two. If they get a point in each of those games, take them to overtime, that'd be great. 2 points if they could beat the Islanders, that'd be awesome. Dallas is a really good team, and they seem to always have the Wild's number, but we'll see. But if he comes back against the Sharks, that means Kaprizov would have 4 games then to get ready for the playoffs, assuming they can hold off Calgary, which is 7 points back. And we flip to that little thing too. So they're 7 points back, but they have 2 games in hand. So I haven't looked at exactly what the Calgary schedule is, but this next week and a half is going to be huge. Or 2 weeks actually is going to be huge for both teams. So as far as Eriksson Ek, he's also been started skating. Hopefully he'll be returning soon. I think he's while not the scorer that Kaprizov is, he's a huge part of the success of the Wild. Without him, they just really don't have a lot of guys that can win faceoffs. Plays on both ends of the ice, so he can shut down another team's best offensive player. He does that really, really well. So he's the epitome of a two-way play center. So definitely somebody that they're going to need. So hopefully they'll be both be able to be back soon, but that's going to be the big challenge. So so we'll see how all this shakes out. I know nobody wants to take on Winnipeg in the first round of the playoffs, but if they end up as that second wild card team, that's who they're going to be facing. If they're the first wild card team, if they can hold on to that 7th spot, then they'll be taking on Vegas. So, but either way, it's not going to matter if Kaprizov and Eriksson Ek aren't back and healthy. So we'll see how the next week goes. Hopefully next week when we're talking, both of those guys will be back in action because the team has missed them immensely this year. So that's all I've got for my show tonight. Thanks so much for tuning in. It was great having you all here. Thanks for checking in, Brian. For everybody else watching, I really appreciate you commenting and checking in. Looking forward to seeing what the next week holds for both the Wild and the Wolves. Hopefully, they can get into prime playoff positioning. It'll be a lot of fun. As a reminder, take care of our sponsors. Planet Jerky, Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, Vital Apparel, Seal the Deal Wax Seals, get Raw Nutrition. Again, the IE Sports family. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, YouTube. You can find the podcast on Spreaker, Spotify, and anywhere you find podcasts, you can find IESR shows. So check those out. If you like the show, I would love to have you be a sponsor of the show. You get the website right there on the bottom of the screen if you can see that. If not, it's go to Spreaker.com/podcast/The Bold North Breakdown, and you can become a supporter of the show. $5 a month is all it takes. It helps keep the lights on. It keeps all this great content flowing. So definitely check that out if you can. I'd love to have you join and be a supporter of the show. It's like I said, $5 a month. If you do that, I'm gonna take care of you. I'm gonna give you a shout out every single show. I'll have you on if you want to come on and talk about any of your teams that you're a fan of. If you've got a business that you want to promote, if you are wanting to do something fun like that, be a supporter. I can help you out there. There's lots of great ways that we can work together, and like I said, it goes to all of the shows. It helps keep all of these shows going, because there is a cost that goes along with having this service and this website that we're using between all of our shows. So definitely would encourage you to reach out to that and become a supporter of the show. Thanks so much. Have a great week, everybody. Go Wolves, go Wild, go Minnesota. See ya.